Welcome to Riverbend Talent on WBGZ. Brought to you by the Halpin Music Company.
I'm Dennis.
I'm Pigpen.
And you're turned into Riverbend Talent on the baby. We were practicing our announcing voices earlier, remember?
And let's introduce our special guest.
Yeah, boy. Howdy there, folks.
Oh,
I didn't even turn his mic on.
Howdy.
Howdy.
How do? So, Alex Honky, who normally is behind the scenes doing all the camera work for YouTube, has joined us in the studio. Is it because you have some big breaking news for us?
No, the show's really going downhill, and I think you guys are just grasping at straws at this point.
No, we have Anacrusis, Metal Blades recording artist, on the show. How could that be going downhill? That is way uphill.
And we've got new eye candy.
Yeah, this ought to do it.
in the form of Mr. Alex Honky, more affectionately known as A Honky. Welcome.
So it's Thursday night. That means the sea shanty sing-alongs going on at Morrison's Irish Pub and the open mic down at Germania Brew House.
And we've also got the open mic at the Ragin' Cajun Piano Bar, hosted by Jamie Dunn and Devin McClendon.
Right, DJ Denice, Dwayne Williams, Bossa Nova.
Here we go, Brother Lee and the Leather Jackals with special guest Mind Frames and Apex Shrine. That's at the back room of the Bottle and Barrel.
Right, 8 o'clock tonight.
Yep.
Next one's for you, Pigman.
Oh, this is the one I've been waiting for. Ladies and gentlemen, at Third Shoot tonight, Hunks. That's right.
You're doing your metal voice.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to stage number 5, the Hunks. The Hunks. I'm imagining this is sort of a male.
It's not a band.
Striptease type show.
Yeah.
They're gonna go full Monty, I'm sure.
Not a band.
This is not a band, but it's Hunks. So,
Oh, I know where you're gonna be.
I'm slightly aroused. So.
Mr. Tommy Fleming, who we had in recently doing the bookings at Third Shoot in Alton, told us they were going to be doing some different things there.
Yeah, we're going to call it Ladies' Night.
Right.
If guys want to go, they can too. I'm not saying you're excluded, but yeah. So there you go, ladies.
Once again, we mentioned this, from time to time. This is a reason maybe not to go to a certain place when you're out looking for live music. It's always good to know,
where the places that don't have it going on.
So, yeah, but I keep thinking, man, an all ladies night. Hunk show would be, but is it like a funeral? You can't hit on the ladies at a hunk show,
I don't know, man. I think if the ladies got
too many rules, I think I'll just.
If the ladies got a hankering for a hunk, then I'm a hunkering for a hen. I don't know. I'm sorry, I ran out of words.
Yeah, we need to start another show for that one.
Anyway, so you know what? Good for them though, going outside the box with that show.
I was waiting.
I don't know.
I knew you were going somewhere eventually, as soon as you figured it out.
Right, I just needed my brain to come up with the right words. It took a second. I was kind of thrown off by it. When I read it, I was like, whoa. Yeah, I didn't know what to think. So there you go, Hunk show tonight.
Yeah, so for all look forward to the Tommy Fleming interview coming your way soon here on Riverbend Talent. DJ Bobby Light up at the back bar in Edwardsville tonight. Stuart Smith at George's Local Brew in Jerseyville. The Graham Band doing Deutsch Village Inn tonight.
Right on.
7 o'clock. Scott and Mechelle, 6 to 8 at LaSalle's in Granite City. Mo Pleasure at the Lake House at Buffalo Park. That started at 6. And an open mic and jam session. Jimmy G putting that together down there at Imperial Pub in Granite City at 7. That's all just happening tonight.
You got to like the fact that it's an open mic jam session. So this is the kind of place where, it's not just guys getting up with their acoustics. There's going to be a full setup. So, you'd be like, hey, do you play drums?
Yeah, the pickup band is always the best type of open mic.
That's right.
Anything goes.
Anything goes. Just like at the Hunk show. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know if that's true or not. That might be fake news.
Maybe some of those guys are drummers.
I bet more than one.
Hey, we failed to mention Mr. Matt Van Voorhis of Macias Insurance also brings you this program each and every Thursday night. Man, we are so lucky to have Halpin Music and Matt Van Voorhis each week paying the bill here and making sure that this gets done and that we get on here and let people know what's going on. There's so much. And this week, we're going a little further. Normally go through Sunday, but we're not going to be on next Thursday because it's Thanksgiving. But, people call New Year's Eve amateur night.
Right, absolutely.
Well, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving is pro night. Because, think of it this way. The people that are going to be preparing the dinners aren't going to be the ones going out. Right?
No, it's the partiers.
It's the people that don't mind having a hangover. Matter of fact, they're planning a hangover probably, right?
Kind of helps.
So when they wake up, plenty of food, right?
Right.
Of all varieties and more liquor probably.
Great reason. Yeah, when you wake up hungover, it's a great reason to start drinking again. Some say.
And you got the day off, so it's pro night coming up the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Now I want to let the listeners know why we're not going to be here next Thursday because, we don't just take every holiday off necessarily, but we've got plans for an excavation type project. We're going to go try and find the first turkey ever served at the first Thanksgiving. So if we find it, we'll have that video next Thanksgiving for you, maybe.
Right. But, much like the Piasa bird bones are hollow and, they dissolve quickly. So it's going to be hard to come up with that evidence.
Not these guys' bird's bones. Not this turkey.
We'll have to check the Roxana tar pit.
All right. Do you think the first one was in Roxana? I thought it was in Plymouth Rock or something.
I don't know. I was just trying to, shorten the
Actually,
drive.
I don't think turkeys are even from America. I think they were shipped here from Hawaii or something. I don't know.
Oh, they're Polynesian. I always thought they had a Polynesian look about them. Those turkeys is Polynesian. No, I don't know. So anyway, all right. So we'll go to the tar pits at Plymouth Rock. That's where we're heading to next week. Anyway, let's run down the Friday, shall we?
Speaking of rock, we can rock our way to Friday.
I thought he was ready to kick into Anacrusis the way he did the fist.
I am ready to kick into Anacrusis. I'm so excited. I am a huge Anacrusis fan.
And then, such nice guys.
Being metal bands, and that reminds you were in metal bands back in the day, right? Early '90s, Big Pen.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Matter of fact, I don't remember. I was just recently on a Facebook page for Club 367, and I was scrolling through there, and I seen this post from this gal, and she's like, "Does anybody know what happened to the band Mazel Christ?
Oh no,
they did Pantera covers." Their lead singer, his name was Scrap, and
he's making
I'm
all
trying to
this
find.
up. This is fake news.
No, it's not. You can get on the Facebook group, and then I noticed you had a new friend, so she found you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
I wonder who she
there
is.
you go.
Connections from the past.
See how you.
She didn't tell me that she found me. She must be just stalking from a distance.
Well, that's what the internet's for.
Everyone knows he has that page bookmarked. And he goes back to it each night before bed, and he looks at it and goes, "Look, they miss me. They miss Mazel Christ.
Somebody remembers me."
You got to keep tabs on your old projects. You never know when one of them might just blow up.
Anacrusis is
right. And I bring that up because we were in metal bands during that time, and they were the band that got signed out of this area, right?
Absolutely.
So everyone that was in that little scene knew who Anacrusis was, and it's excited to have those guys. Congratulations on a great career, releasing all their albums again on vinyl now, and cool. It is.
Yeah, and all that spawning out of Germany.
Yeah, well,
you'll find out in the interview.
Yeah,
I'm not going to ruin it for you.
Spoilers.
It happened in Germany.
Yeah, it's an interesting story, and looking forward to bringing that to you here in just a bit. But let's go ahead and go through the gigs. There's so much to do this weekend, and then, like I said, Pro Wednesday night.
Right.
I didn't want to call it Black Wednesday, but I guarantee a lot of bars get in the black on that Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
I bet they do.
Yes. So anyways, Rodgers and Nienhaus, Friday night. We had them on last week. This is the Friday they're at Jacoby's Art Center.
Nice.
And, definitely get down and check them out. And you can pick up your 4 and 20 tickets. We still have them here at the radio station, too. You can pick them up here if you haven't got them.
I got rid of 500 of them since last week.
Wow. I'm not surprised. All those friends of yours and that, Kool-Aid party you had. You like your Kool-Aid, Pigpen. I know you
do. Grape's my favorite.
I didn't know they made other flavors.
So, Mila Duffey back at it. Friday
good
night at Morrison's Irish Pub. The Mike Jones show scheduled for the back room of Bottle and Barrel that got canceled.
Now, was he in the Monkees or?
No, that's
I know a different Mike Jones, and she's a little bitty thing.
Okay.
Sure, Beta.
Jim
maybe?
Jones. Speaking of Kool-Aid, I don't know.
Johnathan Baker do it at Chez, Marilyns on Friday night at 8 p.m.
We got the DJ Tommy Karaoke Circus, 9 p.m. at Third Shoot. It might still smell like hunks in there. Who knows?
I bet you're going to be at Baker's and Hale on Friday night checking out the Five and Dimers.
Oh, man. Good food and good music going on there.
That's in your neighborhood, too. So.
It is right around the corner, and, man, do
You
I
can
like
walk
the food.
there. No one's looking. Just take off.
His car's here, but I can't find him.
He must be in the bathroom again.
Hey, Flip the Frog going to do the Alton VFW on Friday night. We have Flip the Frog coming your way here on Riverbend Talent.
Yeah, very, very soon. As soon as we can get to them, we got an interview with them that we just did very recently. We're going to put out because it was our first time meeting those guys.
Yeah,
What
they
nice
were a
guys.
blast. They were a good time.
Yeah, Lynn and Jody, nice guys.
Hicktown, 8 p.m. at the Back Bar in Edwardsville on Friday night. Butch and Allen doing the 5 to 8 slot. And then Big George Brock Jr. and NGK Band, 9 o'clock at the Stagger Inn in Edwardsville on Friday. Scott and Mechelle, 6 p.m. at Big Daddy's in Edwardsville. Doc Holiday at 9:30 at the Pumphouse in Wood River. The Grand Band doing the Moose in Wood River, 7 p.m. on Friday night. How about the Screaming Eagles Jam Band, 8 p.m. at the Franchise Sports Bar and Grill in Wood River? I bet that's a roller coaster ride.
I have never heard of those guys. Screaming Eagles Jam Band.
Yeah.
It's a roller coaster ride. It took me a second. I was kind of taken by their name.
You never waited in that line?
Oh, yeah.
When that thing was new?
Oh, yeah. And the lines got so bad that they started making fast passes so you could wait in line at another place to wait in line later at another place. And lines and lines. All right, anyway.
Yeah.
I digress.
Back to Friday night. Eric Bailey, 7 to 10 p.m. at Georgia's local brew in Jerseyville. The Mondin Band featuring Carolyn Ittner on drums. 9 p.m. at Schatze's in Belleville for that one. Fireball, 9:30 at Patrick's in Granite City on Friday. And then Boulder Dash, 7 p.m. at the Lake House at Buffalo Park in Maryville. That's all just Friday night.
That takes care of the Friday in the River Bend area.
We got like 3 more pages of stuff.
And we got about 5 minutes to do it.
Well, yeah, we do. Here we go. Well, we can go a little over. We always do.
Oh, we always do. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to Saturday night, Mr. Pigpen.
Vicky Michaels and Edic's Way, 10 p.m. at Mike's Tin Pen. And then we got the LP Trio, 7 to 10 p.m. at the Old Bakery Brewery. Wild Geese, 8 p.m. at Morrison's Irish Pub. And then Hookie, right down the road at 8 p.m. at Chez, Maryland on Saturday night.
DJ Tommy Karaoke Circus, 9 p.m. at Third Shoot on Saturday. Rivertown, 6 to 10 at Roper's Regal Beagle. So appreciate Mark Haggard sending us that information. I know Roper's has bands, but we don't see them listed on their site. So always great when the band lets us know when they're playing there. So Rivertown, 6 to 10 at Roper's Regal Beagle and Godfrey. Flip the Frog doing Tracy's in Jerseyville, 9:30 on Saturday. And Sam and Trini, 7 to 10 at George's local brew in Jerseyville on Saturday.
We got the Chicken Switch STL. Chicken's Witch. Is it Chicken's Witch or Chicken Switch? I don't know.
It's Switch. Could be either.
Yeah, Chicken Switch. STL, 5 p.m. And Joe Dirt and the Dirty Boys, 9:30 p.m. at the Pumphouse.
Yeah.
There you go.
Have you got Mark Quinn lined up for a December interview?
I have called him. He's not called back. I don't know. You
made him mad last time.
Well, no, it wasn't the last time he was on, but I saw him at a party. I had been drinking. I got a little handsy. I'm sorry. He's a good-looking guy.
I feel like that's the same story you have for a lot of different...
It's his go-to.
Listen, what happens at the Christmas party is supposed to stay there. I keep talking about it. I don't know why.
I'm just glad I wasn't at that party. Sounds like everybody else had a bad time.
You were.
Except for you, maybe.
You were there. I just roofied you. Nothing happened. Wink, wink. No.
That's good to know.
Let's move on.
Back to Saturday night. The Rail Whiskey Band, 9 p.m. at the Franchise Sports Bar in Wood River. Rockabilly Revival, 3 to 7. And then Comedy Night at 7:30 at the Grafton Winery.
Awesome.
You can do the next one.
We got Dueling Pianos, Charlie Brockus and Ian Tall at the Grafton Winery and Vineyards. And then that's at 7 to 9 p.m. That is. And Bags Fly Free, 5 to 8 p.m. And Melvin Turnage Band. Okay, the Melvin Turnage Band, 9 p.m. at the Stagger Inn again in Edwardsville. That's on Saturday night. We got Kapow at the Back Bar, 9 p.m. Wheatley's Wishes. Whitley's? I don't know. Whitley's Wishes Polar Express Toy Drive Fundraiser. That's a lot to say. Yeah. 3 p.m. And Marty Acoustic and Justice and the Experience, 5:30 at Big Daddy's in Edwardsville.
Starts at 3 with Marty's Acoustic and the Justice and the Experience at 5:30.
And the toy drive going on the whole time, so you can drop toys off at any time during that. We got Flipside, 9 p.m. at Imperial Pub in Granite City. Masterminds, 9:30 p.m. at Patrick's in Granite City. Hideous Gentlemen, 8 p.m. at Patty McDee's in Granite City, and then 5 Point Plan, 9 p.m. and Hoochin' 16 at Hoochin' 16's in Granite City. So that's a lot of Granite City going on.
Your announcer voice is on fire, dude.
Is it? I don't think so. I don't. I'm just reading.
The Usual Suspects, 7 p.m. at Porter's Steakhouse in Collinsville on Saturday. Riding Shotgun, 7 p.m. at Hoodat's in Collinsville. Hartsfield, 7:30. Tell me about Hartsfield, Pigpen. You oot them.
I got a Hartsfield album at home. I believe I got a vinyl by them. Yeah, they go way back. You got to get in the way back machine.
Yeah?
Yeah, but those guys are good, man. Got some good stuff from them.
We'll be doing the Wild E Theater Saturday night in
Excellent.
Edwardsville, yeah. Hops for Heroes, live music by Lanny and Julie, 1 to 5 at the Knights of Columbus in Edwardsville. And all proceeds support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight.
Nice.
Which is covering travel costs for war veterans and their guardians to visit all the veterans memorials in Washington, D.C. So raising money for that, the Knights of Columbus, Saturday, Lanny and Julie, 1 to 5.
Excellent. We've got the Skylark Brothers, 7 p.m. on Saturday night at the Lake House in Buffalo Park.
And the Real Macaws, we talked to them last week. They played the Birds, 7 p.m. at the Link Auditorium.
There you go.
No, wait a minute. Is that right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 7 p.m. at the Link Auditorium in St. Louis. We've got Unbroken, 8 p.m. at Rooster's Pub in Staunton.
And Power Trip, 9 p.m. at Corner Keg in Highland, Saturday.
And finishing off Saturday night, Skylark Brothers, 7 p.m. at the Edwardsville Moose.
Woo! Flying.
Yep, Saturday. Time to roll through the Saturday.
Yeah, it is Saturday, man. We're already into Sunday now.
We're Sunday.
Yeah,
you're in another time loop.
We still got the big, Wednesday night.
Yeah. So Sunday, this Sunday, November 24th, Mondin Band, 10 p.m. at Mike's Tin Pen every Sunday.
Brian McClevy, 4 p.m. at the Tri-County Rod and Gun Club in Brighton. Open mic every Sunday and Wednesday at the Stagger Inn. That's at 9 o'clock. And then Larry Gwaltney, 2 to 6 at the Grafton Winery. Corey Evans, 5 p.m. at Big Daddy's in Edwardsville, and the Graham Band, 2 p.m. at the Hidden Lake Winery in Aveston, Illinois. Scott and Mechelle, 2 p.m. at Deutz Village Inn on Sunday. The Vault, 4 p.m. at the Lake House at Buffalo Park in Maryville on Sunday, and the Bistro Dogs, 1 p.m. at Rooster's Pub in Staunton. Of course, all these available at cottonmouth.org, so you don't have to write them all down.
Nope, you just click on there at any time and it'll tell you. So
that guy that's been writing this whole time, sorry I didn't tell you that sooner. He's like, man, I'm going to have to rewind this.
My hand! Ow, my hand is cramping up. And what did he say? Oh, geez, the Bistro Dogs. Oh, geez. I don't know. All right, Monday night, every Monday night, we have the open mic night at the Bottle and Barrel, hosted by the Extraordinary Blues Band.
All right, and so should we break away and then come back and do the big Wednesday night thing to wrap up the show, or should we just nail it?
I think we should go through
it. All right, here we go. Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve, November 27th. That's Pro Night.
Yes.
The guys that go out and really put it on for the big, and while you're doing that, you're in your Uber or your taxi or whatever, because you won't be driving. No. You can just scroll through cottonmouth.org and follow along. Just tell the guy where to go.
Tell him to log on and pick a place.
There you go. Just pick one. Start with maybe a Steve Ewing of The Urge.
Yeah, start at the top of the list. Work your way down.
Well, you might not leave this show, though.
Right.
Steve Ewing of The Urge with special guests The Dead Roses, Hooky, and Inner Outlines.
There you go.
$10 in advance. There's a VIP section for $20. Day of show, $15. So go get your tickets now.
There you go.
So
the day of show, general admission is $15 and the VIP is $25, and in advance it's $10 and $20. So there you go.
That's
Save
bottle and barrel and
money.
Yeah. Thanksgiving Eve.
There you go. We got Beowulf at 8 p.m. at Third Shoot on Wednesday night.
All right, and then the pre-Thanksgiving karaoke DJ party at Baker's and Hale. Brad and Jerry, 8 p.m. at the Franchise Sports Bar. Walk On, 9:30 at the Pumphouse in Wood River. The Grand Band at 6 o'clock at Wild Pickens. They opened that back up just for that. I'm just saying that's going to be a good one right there.
Right.
There's where you start, right there. And then Callous Entertainment, you might end up here, right? Presents Quiet Riot.
Oh, man.
With Enough's Enough.
Come on, feeling. Oh, no.
Nothing like some turkey and some banging your head right there.
Right.
Torchlight Parade and Plastic Kings as well, 7 p.m. Diamonds Billiards and Music Club in St. Peters, Missouri for that one.
There you go. Quiet Riot. Haven't seen those guys for. Didn't Randy Rhoads play with them? I wonder if he's going to be on this tour.
I've got some Quiet Riot stories we can't tell on air. Blue Marlin, 8 p.m. at the Lake House at Buffalo Park in Maryville. We could do it on YouTube, though. Decades Apart, 8 p.m. at Deutz Village Inn and Pontoon Beach. This is all Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and there's still more.
Yeah.
Flipside, 8 to 12 at Patty McDee's in Granite City. Billy Hurst doing 6 to 10 at the Hog Pit in Grafton. Decades Apart down at Deutz Village Inn and Pontoon Beach at 8 o'clock. The Cops putting on their own show down in South Roxana at the American Legion. That's the police tribute band.
Right.
That's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving as well as the Double Wide Duo, 8 p.m. at the Cabin at Judy Creek. And you know what? They're still coming in, Pigpen.
Yeah.
That's just the ones that have been posted up to this
early,
point.
yeah. Because with the modern day of social media, nobody posts anything early.
Right.
Everyone waits till the last second. So
I didn't do anything, and I'm exhausted.
You are exhausted. I wanted to.
You're the eye candy. You sat there looking pretty.
Well, the truth is,
can I try that again?
I'm pretty. Oh, so pretty.
The truth is, he's doing way too much work because he put up the extra camera for no real reason. Now he's got to go mix it down and all that stuff. Making a radio show is so hard.
I know. I hope my kids don't have to do real work like this. I tell them about how we work and we struggle, trying to make them records to put them out.
George Jetson would just press that button for an hour every week, and his finger would get all big and sore.
Yeah.
I mean, the future is going to be terrible.
It's
all right, coming up in the future, right here on Riverbend Talent, Anacrusis, and that is going to be awesome. I am pumped.
Let's do it.
So let's do it. We're back with Anacrusis after this on Riverbend Talent, brought to you by the Halpin Music Company and by Mr. Matt Van Voorhis of Macias Insurance. You know Mr. Matt Van Voorhis. He's such a nice young fella.
WBGZ.
And a looker. Easy on the eyes, that one.
Right, back with more.
And now more Riverbend Talent
with Dennis Laird and Pigpen.
I'm Dennis.
And I'm Pigpen.
Yeah, and I'm stoked, Pigpen, because we're finally doing one of my favorite all-time metal bands, maybe my all-time favorite metal band, especially from the St. Louis area, and everybody's heard of Anacrusis that's ever hung around me, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, you the minute they announced this gig, you started messaging me. Hey, get these guys.
Yeah.
And it took a few weeks for us to work it out.
Yeah.
You guys
get the schedules together.
Before we start talking, we should do some introductions.
Me with you.
I just wanted to turn and start talking.
That was good.
Right to my left, we have Kevin, guitar player for Anacrusis, and we have John, the bass player from Anacrusis, in here with us.
Guys, thanks for having us.
A few missing members.
Yeah. There's the four missing in action. We get people that's kind of why it was difficult to get here. The rehearsal schedules have been crazy.
Yeah.
We're dealing with 6 different people that all are active musically in all different ways aside from this. So we're and families and professional lives. So we're blessed to have a lot going on, but it's a big juggling act too. So
logistically difficult. But that's kind of what I was getting to. Is we've been working on it for weeks because the logistics were a little tough, but we got it worked out.
We're here.
So here we are, and we're here to promote the show that I mentioned that you heard was first put out was December 7th at Delmar Hall, Anacrusis. And it is you guys. There's no opening band. It's just you guys because you're going to be doing 3 different sets that night.
Correct.
With the 3 different drummers that have been part of Anacrusis.
So all 6 members are participating to the full, and it's going to be fun. It's quite an undertaking.
It's been a while too since you played St. Louis, huh?
Yes, and blow the dust off. You know, a lot of there's stuff that hasn't been played in a long time.
Yeah,
we had to really go back and listen to some of the stuff.
Sure.
What did I play there?
Yeah,
it's been 25 years ago or 27 years ago. So yeah, it helps that we have technology to be able to pluck what you need to.
Yeah, to figure this out, figure that out.
Right.
There's nothing like getting everybody together in a room and just turning it up. So.
Yeah. So this all come about because of like a re-release of some of the CDs, right?
Yeah. There's a gentleman named Ula from Germany, and he was kind of the spearhead behind all of this, wanting to get the original stuff re-released, get it released on vinyl was actually kind of the original thought. Everything else went after. And he's someone that Ken's been in touch with for quite some time, and he kind of steamrolled the whole thing, or got everything rolling, and then it actually been sitting in limbo for a couple of years. It was kind of, they want to do it, we're going to do it. They're kind of waiting on this, kind of waiting on that, and none of us had played together in a long time, and a lot of water under the bridge for many years past, and finally you get things oiled up a little bit, and okay, they're gonna put this stuff out. Here's the release dates. Here's what they're gonna do. They put together really nice packages, and everything just looks nice, and it has a nice feel to it. So everybody's in town at the moment, so let's put together a show.
Yeah.
And actually, Delmar Hall reached out to us when they
Nice.
saw that the releases were out. They're like, "Would you guys be interested in doing a show?" And we're like, "Well, let's see if we can all communicate for 5 minutes,
Right.
and put something together."
Yeah. Well, I'm sure the fans are excited because it's been a while since.
I know we are. We're definitely excited.
Anacrusis has played in St. Louis. Now, you guys played back in 2010 in Germany.
We did,
right?
Yep.
And is that part of the same people that have got you re-releasing your material here?
That was kind of a different group of people.
There's a festival called Keep It True.
Keep It
Right.
True.
Right.
And we did. That was the original. The original reason we got together at that point was to do the Keep It True festival, and it was the original 4 members. So it was John, Ken, myself, and Mike. And the rehearsals for that sparked us to re-record actually the first 2 records. Since everybody was in town, the thought was, let's take the time and put this together while we're doing the rehearsals and put this out. And it just kind of, as happens with this band, things tend to snowball.
Right.
But we were always kind of not really very happy with the first 2 recordings, and we thought 21st century technology. I mean, it says on the recording that I recorded my bass tracks in my living room, which I did, because it was direct, so I didn't need an amp. So so it's just incredible the nightmares we went through to make those recordings. Whereas we can just sit in our living room and do it.
Yeah. Let's go back in time there to those original recordings. And you said you did some of that in Kansas City.
We did, yeah.
The original demos.
We did it in a small. It wasn't a home studio, but it was a studio that was in a home.
Well,
that makes any sense.
A box. It was like a trailer home.
Well, no, somebody
it wasn't
taken
a trailer, but it was like shaped like a trailer.
It was just like a very old rectangular
building,
salt box.
Tiny building.
Pitched roof house, I guess, 30s, 40s, 50s style.
16-track analog.
And
one of the tracks was burned out, so it was technically a 15-track.
Right. Nice.
And we had to watch the tape machine while we were tracking.
Because the tape would ride up.
The tape would ride up. So somebody had to watch it, and
there were spots in the tape that was crinkled, so we couldn't record on that part, so we had to start over.
Oh, and we literally had Yeah, I think we were there a little. I think we were 7 days was the total, start to finish. That was mix, record, track, everything.
It was like
so
6 days actually.
we did. And one of the things Ken's forte is the production end and the recording end. He absolutely adores doing that stuff. So from the very beginning, we were always a very prepared band because there was always a lot of pre-production because Ken would just drive himself nuts doing demo stuff, and so we
record rehearsal.
We were never one of these bands that did a whole lot of studio experimentation. It was always a finished product. The blueprint was done, and not only done but rehearsed. And good Lord, we would rehearse, touring, not touring, recording, not recording. We would rehearse 4 nights a week religiously without fail.
Yes.
Wow. And it was just, we were constantly playing or writing or working on whatever it was we did. So the band was always very tight, in whatever iteration it was in, because we were constantly playing.
Yeah.
And so when we went into the studio, we were always very prepared. But again, we'd never been in a proper studio at that point in time. So then it's a whole new mountain to climb. And for me, my preference is the first 2 records. Simply because I like that unpolished rawness, as opposed to, Ken's very good with the Pro Tools type stuff. What does he use now? I don't know. His Cakewalk he was doing for a while. I don't know what but he's
I don't remember. He's got several.
Put things together in nice pieces, and there are definitely two schools of thought on that. For me personally, I like that the raw wheels are about to fall off edge from the first 2 records.
All the rhythm tracks are live on
the first, on the first record. So there's that, but at the same time you lose the precision. So it's a give and take. So you have to decide. Ken would tell you all day long he much prefers the tighter, crisper stuff, and I'm the more raw, loose stuff, and we land somewhere in the middle, and that's what makes the world go around. It is. But
so it's the late '80s. You're cranking out your own demos, I guess, at Ken's house. He's got all this stuff.
Well, that's
his house.
We rehearsed it at my mom's basement.
Yeah.
And Ken would set up the recording central. Most of the time would be in my mom's basement.
Okay.
And then the mixing would go on most of the time at Ken's house. So we would go to Dale's Music over on Lindbergh, and we'd all kick in cash, and we would rent
a 4-track.
4 tracks, 8 tracks, and then
Tascam.
Oh, good, yes, with cassette.
Recorded on that same 4-track.
Yes, we would go.
Then they would have you rent it for a month.
Yeah.
So then we'd have to find 2 bands and split it.
Yeah.
Nobody could record it for a month.
Exactly. You'd go rent it.
Awesome.
And so we would record, and I remember actually doing overdubs in Ken's basement. So we'd at my mom's place, we had all of our gear there. So that was kind of the logical place to do all the basic tracks. And then Ken would do vocals, because he lived at his parents' house. So he would,
Dude, we all
do
lived at our
vocals.
parents'
We
house.
did.
What are you
actually,
saying?
at the time. I lived at my mom. You did too. Yeah. So John was actually the first person in the band to get
right
his own,
when the album was
place.
recorded. So right up until that point. Then
we all used to end up at John's house after every rehearsal. John had an apartment and the ability to buy alcohol.
Right.
Oh, there you go.
So the party always went to John's house after.
Any non-rehearsal day was usually El Blotto.
So the early days there was a lot of that.
Yes, there was.
But we approached everything we did that way. When we went on the road, tours, the sets were well rehearsed. Whenever there was a gig, they were well rehearsed. When it was studio time, all of those pieces were just on a dime.
Right.
Demoed the crap out of stuff. And we had full-length demos of every album, including songs that weren't included on the record.
Right.
And you got those demos reviewed.
Yeah.
Early on. You weren't even really out playing yet.
No, the whole idea to draw attention to the band came from, a lady who managed us. We talked about this before the interview started a little bit. A lady named Lynn Chartreux, who had a company called Nobody Really Productions. She was a local promoter and worked with a lot of people, and she worked at a local record store. And for the kids that don't know the importance of that was where we all.
Oh yeah.
That's where we found out what was cool, what wasn't cool. You went to the import section. You looked at that's where all the the magazines were. That's where all of the related to the music we listened to, and all the records, and you grab stuff by what cover looked cool. And
I remember going to a band meeting in her basement,
Yeah.
where a cross section of St. Louis musicians was just surrounded, all in their teens and early 20s, surrounding the room.
Nice.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, I know we're kind of touching on a bunch of different things here,
Right.
but we had talked early on about there being a great scene in St. Louis, fan base wise, but not much venue wise.
Right.
And this is something, I'm glad you brought that up, John, because Lynn did a lot of this. One of the first times I saw Ken's original band, Heaven's Flame, play was at a bowling alley.
Yes.
And they played with a band called Stiletto. And it was just like people were looking for places to put bands, and bands were willing to play anywhere.
Pizza joint,
Good, yes.
anywhere.
It was crazy in a cool way. And so there was kind of, you always had that, looking back, nobody wanted to be nice to anybody else's band because it was somebody else's band.
It was very competitive to the point of
I agree.
where it just was almost.
But
Like
looking back as an adult,
12-year-olds.
well, that's it. But ultimately, what happened though is everybody did work together to put together successful shows. I mean, we used to go out and hand
Metal Bash 1, Metal
flyers
Bash 2, you remember those?
Oh, yeah.
The Bridgeton Soccer Club, those were fun.
I was going to ask, I don't know if you guys remember this. We used to go to Music Vision was one of the big stores. Backstage Records on St. Charles Rock Road, and then later, it was Street Side.
Right.
Randy Russell from Street Side, and then Sound Revolution was another great record store. But
Vintage vinyl. of
vintage
course,
vinyl,
yeah.
and if you used to be able to go into the record store, and if you saw something you liked, you could take it up to the counter, and they would open it.
Yeah.
And they would put it on and let you listen to it. And then they had, if you remember, the record stores had a shrink wrapper.
Yeah.
And if you didn't buy it, they would just
Just put it
shrink
back
wrap
on.
it, put the price sticker back on, and put it back out in the rack. So there was always something playing, or you could, hey, I'd like to hear this. I've heard it's good. And there really was no real outlet other than that network to kind of be in touch with what was cool and what isn't.
The record
cool.
stores were the music scene, pretty much.
And that's how everybody connected.
Especially for original music.
You would put out flyers, my band is playing, or I need this, or I need that, or we're putting together a band. I mean, John and I met through a flyer.
Yeah.
I had a buddy that went to college, and John's brother was going to UMSL.
My brother picked the flyer off the bulletin board at UMSL, and it sat on my desk for like a month and a half. And I drank beer and watched TV.
Yeah.
Look at this flyer. Wanted bassist for
Handmade.
hard rock / metal band. So I'm like, what's a metal band?
Yeah.
I'm like, to me, metal is Blue Oyster Cult,
Yeah.
Black Sabbath, that kind
And
of
this is
stuff.
what he tells me on the phone. He's like, so you mean metal like Deep Purple, right?
Right.
And I'm all,
Deep Purple wouldn't
not
appreciate that.
exactly.
Would
So
you
he
say-
goes, no more like Metallica, Iron
Okay.
Maiden, Metal Church. I'm all,
yeah.
I've heard of Iron Maiden.
Okay.
So I'd never even heard Metallica. So anyway, I go to his house. We'll skip the green chords story, okay? I've heard that shit already. Anyway, so he sends me home with 3 records. Metal Church's first record, Peace of Mind, which I'd heard some Maiden before that point, and Metallica Ride the Lightning. And I put on Metal Church.
You had Show No Mercy, too.
Oh yeah, and
gotta have
I
that
said
in
that
there.
was on 78. I'm like, dude,
He called me, he's all, dude, did they record this and speed up the tape, or what did he do?
Yeah, I got the same impression from that album.
I put on
It's
Beyond
amazing.
the Black when I got home, my stereo. I have these speakers, they're like this high. I
think he still has them.
You could put a child in them,
Yeah.
2 children in them. Anyway, I was just like, what is this?
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of bass. That was the thing that was bothering me a
Yeah.
little bit about Metallica and a lot of the thrash bands, is the bass guitar was kind of, it blends.
Yeah.
It's low in the mix.
Well, I was actually blessed enough to be at the Metallica show at Reflections, and they opened for Wasp.
Oh, wow.
And Armored Saint was the opener. Metallica was in the middle, and Wasp was the headliner. And a friend of mine that I went to high school with, his dad was the Warner Brothers rep for the local record store. So
Okay.
what Tony did, his job was to go around to all the record stores and make sure that they had posters, make sure that he had the prime placement for what was coming out. He gave out the promo copies to all of the record stores. So one of the things that this was the kind of stuff that we utilized. So
absolutely.
I was actually, me and my friend were on Metallica's guest list. Wow. Now, that's really cool to look back and say now, but back then, nobody, what? No.
Metallica,
there were maybe 300 people there. It was the Ride the Lightning tour. Metallica did a 45-minute set. They were incredible. They did an in-store at Streetside on Olive. We got to hang out with them at the in-store, and there wasn't maybe 15 or 20 people there. Right. But anyway, leading forward, one of the things that we did, Tony that worked for Warner Brothers, he would give us his list of record store contacts, and that we just started making phone calls. We would get on and we'd be like, I just need to talk to the manager, I'm playing a local band, we got a show, or we got this coming up, and we developed our own relationships, just getting on the phone and then going in and meeting people. So when the Anacrusis records would come out, we would beg the record company for point of sale stuff. Yeah. We need posters. And I would get in my mom's car and drag whoever wanted to go, and we would drive 20 different record stores, and we'd be hanging posters.
Promotions. Doing old school promotions. Now, the bands today know that. They go on Facebook, they put it up, and they're done.
It would be an entire weekend.
All you young kids listening, this is what bands used to do all the time.
We'd be on the road, and hardly any of us drank or didn't drink very much. So we'd get a case of Rolling Rock every friggin' night. So eventually the van is full of Rolling Rock. So we give it to kids at shows before the show to flyer cars.
We also traded it to the Overkill guys for their shower rooms.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that's true.
That's a good trade.
Yeah.
See, so more room for people in the van when there's not that much beer there.
To pull us back on chronological tracks, because this is a long story. We're never going to get through it all.
Sorry.
No, I'm just trying to pull us back on chronological tracks. We were talking about the demos getting reviewed, and that by getting your demos reviewed in the magazines, that was your first gig being at Mississippi Nights.
Yeah,
that's exactly. Kerrang! Magazine and Metal.
And again, I'm having which one actually came out first? I'd have to physically, and I'm sure that we have copies of these. I know I do. I know Ken does. It was
those magazines reviewed it, and that led to a Mississippi Nights calling you for your first gig. Now in St. Louis, that don't really happen to bands, right?
Well, in a roundabout way, it led to that. I mean, what would happen? And I'll try to make this. I'll give you the edited version. When you would get a demo review, they would print the address. Your mail to or get information. So that's kind of what snowballed things. So we started getting fan letters, people requesting. They read the reviews. They wanted to hear the demo, so we would send out copies of the demo. We would bounce things around, do this and that, and one thing led to another. So when it came time to do our first official show, the one place everybody always wanted to play was Mississippi Nights. That was the Madison Square Garden of St. Louis for us. That was the crown jewel. Everybody wanted to play the Nights. And so but they weren't going to probably going to let us in. They weren't going to let us in the back door, much less the front door. So anyway, we booked our own show at a community center around the corner from my mom's house. And the week prior, our Lynn manager at the time called and said, well, there's a band playing Mississippi Nights called the Killer Dwarfs, and they need an opening act. Would you guys? And it was like the week before our debut show, but we're like, we'll do it. Yes, it's Mississippi Nights. Yes, we're in.
This may not happen again.
Yes. Right. And actually, Ken had played Mississippi Nights prior to this, though. His first band, Heaven's Flame, opened for Metal Church.
Okay.
On one of the 2 or 3 dates that Metal Church did on that first tour, I think they had 2 or 3, maybe 4 dates on the first album. They
only did 4 days.
Yeah, there wasn't an official tour. They didn't get any support for that. I don't know what happened. But Ken's band, Heaven's Flame, opened for Metal Church, and I was at that gig. It was an amazing gig. So Ken definitely has that feather in his cap, and he beat us all to the Nights, and he got to open for Metal Church, full original lineup, the whole entire band, and that never happened after
the first album.
After those few dates they did. So
I'm not sure if all our listeners understand that to get your demo reviewed and a major metal magazine at that time was the ultimate thing a band could have, right? I mean, you guys had to just flip out when you seen
off
that.
the wall.
Foot in the door.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Absolutely.
Because we started getting all these letters from like Germany and England, and just people going, "Wow, your demo's great." And
what was really cool about this band and this bunch of individuals, everybody in this band, as you can see, is very personable, very friendly, and very sincere. And we all wear our hearts on our sleeves when it comes to what we do. And we developed all of these wonderful relationships, some of which to this day are still intact, because there was never it was never a pretentious thing. We were always very grateful for the way people treated us. So, when Don Kay has good words to say, Don used to write for Kerrang. When he has something cool to say about your band, it was, you reached out, you kept in touch with that person. When Bernard Doe, who owned Metal Forces magazine, takes a liking to you, you express something to these people.
Foster that relationship.
Yes, and it was nice that it was reciprocated for us on so many levels. All through our career. I mean, there's people that touched or crossed paths with this band at all different intersections, and from every era, we can name handfuls of people that we're still in touch with. And people that are coming in for this show, and people that we talk to, and it's been wonderful in that regard. That it just kind of, it made a big world into a much smaller village, which was nice.
So you get your demo reviewed, and then sign with Axis Records, which becomes Active. That's a European label, right?
Yeah,
correct.
2 records with them, and then you never went over to Europe. You just stayed
Not at
here,
that point,
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then. After that, that's when Metal Blade took you guys on, right?
Yeah, they had licensed the first 2 records from Active Records
to release in the States.
And then ultimately signed the band for the other 2 releases.
Right.
So that's kind of how that came about. It was kind of a backdoor way into the label, taking the European route.
And once again, you guys are still holding down day jobs during this whole time. So Mike Owen, he joins the Navy.
Mike had joined the Navy.
Right.
John was working at Lucia's Pizza.
And then you're on Metal Blade Records at the same time, and you release Manic Impressions, which probably was your most successful record up to that point as far as worldwide, right?
And the first time we actually were in a... I'm sorry, go ahead.
We also, the Metal Blade also had Warner Brothers distribution. We had distribution on that record and the following record. So we expected to see it in stores more when we went on the road.
I think
but there was places where there would be 1 or 2 copies or there would be none. So, I mean, that was kind of tough. Going out on the road and not seeing, you go in a record store and not see your record there, and you see all these other bands that are out on the road right now, and it's like, that kind of made the hair in the back of my neck stand up.
Yeah, I guess it would be. So you get all excited, and then you're out on tour, and
you're promoting your product.
Yeah,
I mean, essentially that's what it is. We want you to buy this product, So if it's not there, then we're out of the chicken sandwich. Right now, So
and it's I think. What happens, and it happened to a lot of bands, we weren't signed directly to a major label, but the major labels, even when they were doing distribution, that sort of thing, I think the independent labels like Metal Blade, they get it, or they got it. They knew how to go in and grassroots something and build at college radio and build at the club level, and the major labels just weren't. They didn't get that. They missed that step because they always had money and pull, so they would just kind of shove whatever they wanted down everybody's throat, and so that I think they missed the boat a little bit. The major labels did when they started distributing for the independent labels and then buying out bands. I mean, initially a lot of these bands that went from, Overkill was
and
one
then
of them.
get dropped.
Well, Overkill, Testament. Right. These were all bands that were on.
And they go back to an independent label.
Big fish in a small pond, and then they get sucked up by big labels.
Yeah.
And big labels just didn't know what to do with them. Death Angel also comes to mind. Bands
Armored Saint got signed to a major label too.
So, and there was kind of there was like a couple of year period where all of these bands were jumping from small labels to big labels, and financially this made a lot of sense because the big labels could, recording budgets, touring budgets, multicolored posters, whatever you want, but the problem was the major labels didn't understand the product,
Well, I think
how to market it.
Heavy metal took a huge turn during that time too, because
Sure.
you know you had bands like Slayer who were coming out in the mid '80s. By early '90s, now they've established themselves underground, and now the labels are saying, "Hey, this can be done with these type of bands,
Sure.
not the Motley Crue type metal
Sure.
that was getting pushed at the time
Sure.
by the major labels, right?" And so, but here's what happens next is all kinds of bands all of a sudden are out on these Metal Blade records. So now you've got like 30 bands out on Metal Blade that, it's kind of like now it's just saturated.
Right.
There's so much stuff out there for you to choose from. And in the early to mid 90s, that type of metal, the thrash metal, I guess you'd call it, just there were all kinds of albums coming out. I mean, just left and right every week from
It's
all
the
these
same-
labels.
You see it everywhere. As soon as something's successful, you get 42 copies of it that come, and everybody tries to cash in on it. So it just tends to happen, and then eventually, though, that kind of stuff washes away. So if you take a look, well, who's out on the road still? Well,
Yeah.
Metallica's out on the road. Slayer's out on the road. I mean, Anthrax is out on the road. These bands are still here. They're still doing what they did because those guys were, in my opinion, the real deal. I'm not saying there wasn't a lot of talent along the way, but good Lord, we just saw Overkill was just in town with Death Angel, and
Still doing
what an amazing show! It was
awesome.
incredible. So you've got a lot of the real deal bands still doing it, but you're right, it gets oversaturated and.
Well, it's
things
got to
get
make you
lost.
feel good, that after all these years, somebody would pop up and say, "Hey, you guys should re-release that stuff. It was really good."
It does feel good.
Yeah.
You certainly can't say it doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great to be able to do it. It feels good,
Yeah.
and it's nice to be able to share it with people.
Yeah.
And I have somebody other than my mom who cares.
Right. Now, you guys don't only just play with Anacrusis. Kevin, you play with Johnny Rocket, right? And
15 years.
You played over here in Wood River. At
we
the
would play
Pumphouse recently.
all over the place. Actually, John and I started that band 15 years ago.
2003.
John hasn't been in that band in over 10 years, but
Okay.
yeah, it's a
2008.
cover band, does all the 80s stuff, full production. So the Motley Crue, Journey, Poison, complete opposite of what goes on
Right.
with the Anacrusis thing. But there's always been a very rock and roll side to me personally, and this is my outlet, or has been my outlet for that. And it's for a lot of years after the Anacrusis thing, and I won't bore you guys with all the details. I didn't play any music at all.
Yeah.
And when I started playing music again, I promised myself that I could. It always had to be fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
It could never, ever become a job to me because when we were trying to make a career of it, that's when we burned our.
It became a job.
We burned ourselves into the ground. So
Worse than a nightmare job at points
sure, absolutely, that's the
that you
reality.
didn't get
of
paid for
Right.
at all.
Yeah.
I mean, you basically pissed your money away doing it.
Yeah.
You kept wanting to do it, but for me, it was the music. When I played the songs, there's very few things that I get more enjoyment out of than playing those songs from those Anacrusis records, because it was a part of us.
Yeah.
It was us just pouring ourselves into the music. I mean, it was untainted by anything other than desire. I was playing for my life. I was telling you, I didn't have any family. My family moved away, so I'd go over to his house for Thanksgiving. This is my family. You know, so when I found out Ula wanted to remaster and re-release the all four recordings, I was like, wow, this is cool.
Yeah.
This is really cool, and they sound great. The remastering, they did a great job. So
You probably
You
think
did a
back.
fantastic job.
You think back to those first two records where you had all that pressure just to get one done.
Right.
You know what I mean? And obviously new at doing it on top of that, and then to have the opportunity now to go back and, hey, we can make them sound better.
Right.
Something
know.
that we found though, and
and
I
available to people.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
I was talking
that's
about
true.
earlier.
for every record that we did, and with each consecutive recording, we had longer amounts of time in the studio and bigger budgets. But what you find is that you still, no matter how much time you allot yourself, you use it.
Yeah.
And your back is always so.
You're always in the red. Always.
Yeah, but what's crazy is we got the first record done in 6 days, start to finish, because we only had 6 days.
Yeah.
We had 30 days for the last record, and we still weren't going to get it done. And it's or whatever the case may be. So it's just. Sadly, things kind of work in that regard.
You are time allotment challenged.
Yeah, big time.
as your psychiatrist, I want
and
to
then
know.
Then there was always the 4 members of the band. There's a deep love among all of us, and that's not anybody yanking chains. But at the same time, there's plenty of daggers that should be thrown, maybe shouldn't be thrown, should be ducked, and that's just part of being in a family. So you have to contend with that stuff too, on top of being creative, but ultimately, that's kind of what fuels a lot of the creativity, the bang and the but eventually you get to a point where you're so drained and that's when we decided to call it a day. It was 4 records in, and everybody stepped away.
Yeah.
And it's sad, but
I had a full-time
necessary.
job in '91. In January of '91, we were going to go in the studio and record Manic Impressions, and they said, "You can't take a leave of absence again.
Yeah.
You either want to work here or you want to play music."
Yeah.
I was like, "Bye."
Yeah.
But I was poor.
Oh, John, I don't know how I'm going to pay the rent, but I'm playing.
Talking
bass,
about
so
empty
life is
fridge.
good.
My fridge was like a 5th dimension. You could put stuff in there and it would go away. But
John could make a box of mac and cheese last a week.
Well, that's what it takes. You know what I'm saying? Hey, John, what do you do when you're not doing Anacrusis? You got any other projects going on?
I'm actually in a band called King Gambrinus. It's St. Louis beer punk.
Awesome band. Awesome band.
We are a good band.
Fun
Very
band.
good band. I'm the only sober member of King Gambrinus, so I am the designated driver usually. Yeah. So
you own a band.
We did the Brinkstock thing a few months back at that St. Laborious church. Is it Laborious? I can't remember.
I know you told me about the venue.
It's a church. It's bizarre. It's a 200-year-old church or a 100-year-old church, and you go in there and it's like, stained glass and bricks falling off it. But you go down in the basement and played there with Ultraman and some other. There was like 9 bands, but
Beer punk.
Beer punk.
I like it.
We're on Spotify, so look it up.
Okay.
King Gambrinus is the patron saint of Pilsner brewing.
Yes. Did Ken do the production on the record?
Ken did the production on the record.
Okay.
Yeah, he engineered, recorded, and mixed. No, I wouldn't call it produced. I would say engineered, recorded, and mixed.
Now, Kevin, don't you dabble in some recording as well?
I actually build guitar amplifiers.
Oh, that's what you do.
Yeah, I've got a company, Rocket Retro. I build vintage tube amplifiers.
Right.
Yeah. So I thank the good Lord every day I get to build amps all day long and play rock and roll on the weekends.
Yeah, so your amps go out on tour and you stay in St. Louis, I guess.
Yes, exactly right.
Take it easy,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And they come back with stories, right?
Yes,
About the amp.
yes, and they only tell them to me.
Okay. All right, man. So, well, congratulations on the reunion show, which is coming up on December 7th. A 3-part show.
Yeah.
So you got each drummer doing their thing for a section of the show. You take breaks in between. This is going to go on for 3 hours.
3 weeks.
Roughly. 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right?
It's going to feel like 3 weeks by the third set.
Basically, people will know they got their money's worth.
Yeah, actually, and there's no opening act, so it's going to be. I think the show is timed pretty well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
as long as we get a lengthy breather for a hot dog and a beer or whatever between each set.
Of course, you'll have all the merch there and everything, and people can pick up the new versions of the original.
New versions, maybe a few. There's a bunch of people bringing stuff. Oh God, merch-wise, I think there's just gonna be a big pile of stuff. We've got a bunch of stuff that's been sitting around.
Old
We've got
flyers.
Yeah, they're all. Who knows?
Old boxes of shirts.
All right, you still got stuff laying around.
Yeah,
like
we
that?
definitely got. We got
Get it all out and sell
few
it.
little surprises. We're gonna chuck out.
$5 shirt.
Take it.
There you go, Pigpen. These guys are on Metal Blade, and they still got stuff laying around their houses just like us.
Yeah,
Just us, man. It's not just us.
no.
It's every band that bought 100 shirts and bought 500 CDs.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah. So back in the day, though, for folks that don't know, you guys had to send that stuff all around in envelopes on cassette, right?
Oh yeah, bubble wrapped.
There was no internet that you could. Well, there was, but it was so new that
We
there
would
wasn't
have
a lot.
we would have a
going on.
stack of flyers, whatever it was we were kind of promoting, and we did a lot of that kind of stuff. John was actually in charge of the official Anacrusis mailing list, so he had this set of 3-ring binders, and every time a fan letter would come in, we would answer that letter personally. Somebody in the band would answer,
Nice.
but John would take the time to record that person's address in a book for us.
Right.
And then we obviously would keep the actual fan letter itself.
Oh, wow.
But, at Christmas time, we sent out Christmas cards
Nice.
to everybody that we had the address for. And that
Wow.
list, I mean, it grew 500, 600, 700, 800 people.
Yeah.
It was, and John managed this thing all by hand. There were no
Man.
computers.
I still have it somewhere.
Yeah,
In the
that's
So we would
amazing.
send out Christmas cards. If we had a new release coming out, we would send out, hey, there's something coming out, or hey, we're going out on the road.
Yeah.
And you kind of kept in touch that way. And then
Yeah. Well,
when it was time to go to the post office, we would just go buy cases of blister packs.
Yeah.
And John and I, there's nobody on the face of the earth. I challenge anybody to stuff an envelope like John and I can stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Oh, good. We can get 3 demos, a T-shirt, and a thank
Dude,
you
I want to
letter.
send it in 2 packages. God damn it, the postage will be more.
For sure.
Envelopes just ripping at the seams, and it's like if you got it into the envelope, this is how much it costs.
Yeah.
Like,
Tell,
okay.
tell him Stefan's small or medium shirt.
Oh, good. Well,
Stefan is this guy in Germany that used to write us way back.
Wonderful guy.
And when we went there in '93, he was at most of the German shows. He followed us around. He was a serious fan.
Yeah.
Anyway, he gives Kevin crap about because I didn't fill this envelope and I didn't put a medium shirt. I mean, if you saw Stefan, you'd understand, okay? Because he could fit a medium shirt onto one arm, and that was it.
We didn't have any large shirts left. The guy ordered a shirt, and I'm like, shove the medium
Shove
in
the
there.
medium shirt. No one wants a damn medium shirt.
They run a little large.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But he still has it, though.
Yes, he does.
And a great story to go with it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Oh man, well we've enjoyed your stories and appreciate you guys stopping.
We've enjoyed
in
being
and,
here. Thank you guys for having us.
Yeah, we're looking forward to December 7th.
Awesome.
Big reunion. I think it was like T. Billy's Buffet was
T.
the
Billy's
last time you
Buffets
guys
was
played.
That was
Buffett's
Yes.
T. Billy's buffet. That's nice. I like
You have
that.
no idea how many times people came in and asked.
We have a buffet. Where's a buffet?
Yeah, I've seen that. ahead.
Yes,
You know,
indeed.
yeah,
Oh, that was a
it's
lifetime
hilarious.
ago.
Been
That's
a
where
while.
Johnny Rocket started too.
Yeah.
Really? So,
Yeah,
there
we
you go.
cut our teeth playing there on Thursday nights. Yeah.
So you guys stay busy every weekend,
Yeah.
pretty much, yeah. And you got a place where people can check out Johnny Rocket.
Yeah, Johnny Rocket, ROCK-ITT.
Right.
Facebook.
or
Yeah,
whatever.
all the dates are there. We have a lot of fun. We drink a lot of beer and make a lot of noise.
So easy to get Anacrusis tickets too, right?
Absolutely. John's got a whole back pocket full.
Okay, well.
Delmar Hall.
You can Delmar, or you can get them online if you go
Yeah,
to.
you can get them online. There's a service charge if you get them online.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you go down to Delmar Hall. you
No
pay
service
that.
charges. $10 ticket. We wanted to keep it affordable for
Nice.
everybody so that it's not some big, crazy expensive deal. Make sure that everybody can come. Hopefully bring friends, family, kids. I know a couple of weeks ago we hit the halfway sold out point, so we're,
Nice.
yeah, and we got people, we're blessed to have people flying in from all over the world.
I bet.
Seriously, it's an amazing feeling
It
to
is. It's.
have that.
I've had people go, really?
Yeah.
They're flying from the UK
Yeah.
just to see you guys. I'm like,
So we're gonna do
Yeah.
our best to make it to an experience for everybody.
You know, Germany hasn't given up on the heavy metal, have they?
No,
No.
Oh, they're
That's right,
crazy
the top
for it over
one,
there.
yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
A whole lot of Europe is like
Yeah.
that.
you know what's
Yeah.
funny is when when we toured in Europe, especially the German shows, it's I could give you some examples of some East Coast American clubs where I want to go home.
Yeah.
This was like, backstage deli, beer, it was incredible. We were just like,
everything you drink.
We walk in there, we're like, what is this? Oh, this must be death stuff.
Nice.
No, this is yours. We're like, really?
Nice.
So it was, people are very appreciative of bands that will come over and play their music for them,
So you guys, you got a YouTube channel Anacrusis.
There is I think it's linked to the actual Anacrusis website. So every imaginable thing video-wise that's available is out there on YouTube.
Well, I was going to bring that up when you were talking about Ken always being into recording and stuff. And I'm like, it's obvious when you go to your YouTube channel, you recorded almost everything you guys. I mean, you got the Mississippi Night Show on there.
Obsessive.
Collecting any interviews you guys did along the way.
He spent several years trying to chronicle and find everything possible.
Yeah, you can tell.
So it'd be done. There's a bits and pieces CD that he's got, just like 10 seconds of a song or 20 seconds of a song, but it's on there. He found it. So
that's insane.
Just search Anacrusis on YouTube.
There's a lot of stuff out there.
So you've got your website. You've got the YouTube channel. Have you got Facebook?
Yeah, there's an Anacrusis Facebook page.
Go on.
If you just Google the name, all of the links will pop up, and you can just kind of go whatever direction you prefer.
Very easy to find. Very easy to get a hold of the tickets for the December 7th show at Delmar Hall. And while you're there, you can pick up the copies of the newly released old material.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, the only thing you run into on Google that may confuse you is that the name Anacrusis means something in music, right? So there's a lot of information on what the actual term Anacrusis means, right?
Yes,
so,
it is a musical term.
Yeah, it's like a pickup.
It's the upbeat.
Right.
So it's the accented beat in any measure of music.
Unaccented.
And actually, Chad Smith, who plays on Manic Impressions, was sitting with me. I saw the name in a music theory book in a music class that Chad and I had together. And so he was kind of there when... Actually, long before
he had the name when I met him, too.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, well, we appreciate you guys coming in once again, and that show December 7th, Anacrusis, Delmar Hall. Only $10, man. Get out and check that out. Maybe a long time before you see you guys again. You never know, right?
Right.
You get a lot for the $10.
All right, Kevin, John, thanks a lot for coming.
Thank you guys for having us, man. Seriously, appreciate being here.